And we move now to the second presentation of this group of three, and that's going to be given by Pamela Giberson, who is with NSERC. The title of the presentation is Building Research Partnerships, or the NSERC Alliance Grants program. Pam is the Manager of Research Partnerships in the NSERC Pacific Regional Office. Her role is to improve stakeholder awareness of NSERC's Partnership Grant Alliance and to facilitate research collaborations between non-academic organizations and academics. Pam's undergraduate and master's degrees were in agriculture at the University of British Columbia. And I apologize because I have a puppy upstairs that's barking, but we'll continue and do our best. Her PhD was in toxicology at the University of Saskatchewan, followed by postdoctoral training in the Faculty of Medicine at UBC, and has worked in academia, industry, government, and therefore has an experience base that covers and understands well the unique aspects of each of these sectors and, as a consequence, the intersection between all of them. So Pamela, welcome to the CNSP meeting. Thank you very much for taking time to join us, and we're looking forward to hearing your discussion.
Thanks very much, Jarek, and for that nice introduction. Thank you also to the CNSP for inviting NSERC to be part of this panel. It's very much appreciated. So I'll just see if I can get my... There we go. Can we put it on, let's see. There we go. All right. So today, thank you again, everybody, for attending. It's nice to hear that there's such a good group. I'm going to be talking about the NSERC Alliance grants, which most of you know are relatively new for NSERC after our reorganization of our partnership program a few years ago. So Alliance grants are research collaborative projects, and they are intended to accomplish this list of things that you see. And you will recognize that all of these are very, very similar to our previous programs, the CRDs, the strategic project grants, engage grants. But the purpose is to generate new knowledge, improve technologies. There need to be benefits demonstrated clearly in the application to Canada in either economic, social, or environmental aspects. We would like them to obviously eventually contribute to Canada's long-term competitiveness. Public policy is often part of these projects as well. And even more so now with NSERC Alliance grants because of the broadening of our eligibility of different types of partners to include government partners now. Obviously, training is still a very key component of everything that NSERC does, and training is and continues to be a big part of our research collaboration projects that we support. So the size of the Alliance grant is incredibly variable. They can be as small as $20,000 a year up to $1 million a year, and they can be from 1 year to 5 years in duration. We are promising that projects can be scaled up. So you can start small and grow your project if it's going along nicely and you've secured more funds from your partners. And I asterisk that point there because that process is under development and not quite ready yet, but hopefully will be very shortly. So the research topics obviously must fall within the natural sciences and engineering. That's where NSERC's mandate lies. But there is opportunity to bring in other disciplines, either on the health side or on the social sciences side. And this broadens the reach of the project. and we encourage it in cases where it makes sense. You must identify in your budget the costs. So because the majority of the budget must still go to NSE related activities. So in the budget, the non-NSE activities need to be identified so that we can make that judgment. So with an alliance grant, there is a cost sharing component. So one of your partners must be bringing cash to the project. So we've got some rules around partners, obviously. I'm not going to go into those now. They're long and varied, and I'm happy to answer questions later. There's lots of information on the website, but if you've got several partners in your project, then at least one of them must be bringing some cash, and that partner needs to be recognized for cost sharing. Every partner that's on your project must be involved. So everybody needs to be there for a reason. They need to be bringing in-kind contributions, and it needs to be made clear why they're there. And at least one partner must have the ability to do something with the results at the end of the project. As I mentioned just a few moments ago, we've broadened our eligibility of different types of partners. So we now allow partners from the public sector, the private sector, as well as the not-for-profit sectors. So you may have heard, if you've looked at the website or you've been talking to colleagues that have been looking into alliance grants, that there are these two different streams, option 1 and option 2. There's a bit of confusion around this. Hopefully it's starting to get itself sorted out. What I will say is that the majority of alliance projects that we will support will be in the option 1 stream. So that is sort of your typical collaborative type of project. Option 2 is for very, very specific types of projects, which I'll talk a little bit about in a few moments. There's not enough time to go into a lot of detail, but there are some fairly stringent limitations on the option 2 side of things. So option 1 grants will definitely predominate. So let's just look a little bit at the cost sharing for the option 1 grants. It seems complicated at first, but it's not really, I assure you. There's two different ways that the cash from your partners can be leveraged. So it will either be leveraged on a 1-to-1 basis, which we call 50%. 50% of the project costs are covered by your partner and 50% by NSERC. Or the cash is leveraged in a 2-to-1 ratio, where NSERC will cover up to 2/3 of the project cost, with 1/3 being covered by the partners. So you will get a 1-to-1 leverage on your partner's cash if you've got one large partner that's a partner with more than 500 or plus employees globally, or if you've got a group of large partners and they're all from the same sector, either the private, public, or not-for-profit sectors. Where you will get a 2-to-1 leverage on your partner's cash is when you start to mix that up a little bit. So if you've got a large partner and then you bring in an SME who is also involved in the project, they don't need to be bringing cash, but they are involved in a meaningful way, then the cash will be matched on a 2-to-1 basis. You could also have all large partners, but if they're from some different sectors, that will also get you a 2-to-1 leverage. The rationale behind this is that it increases, by having these different partners involved in the sort of value chain of the project, if you will, it increases the likelihood, or we're hoping it will increase the likelihood, that those results will have a greater likelihood of being translated and transferred out to users more efficiently than just by having one partner. On the option 2 side, NSERC will provide a much higher proportion of the project costs. We will either cover all of the project costs, or we will cover up to 90% of the project costs. As I said, these are very, very specific types of projects. They have to have a very significant unmet societal need The outcomes of the project need to be easily accessible well beyond just the partners. So anybody interested in these results needs to be able to access them easily, and there needs to be a plan for that in the application. There is an additional review step for option 2 grants, and I'll talk about that momentarily. There are some limitations on the option 2 grants. For now, they range from $30,000 to $300,000 per year for up to 1 to 5 years. So I'll just talk a little bit about the application and evaluation processes. Option 1 and 2 can be applied for at any time. There is no deadlines. They just roll in all the time, and we review them on an ongoing basis. For option 1, there are no limit on the number of applications that a researcher or partners can apply for. For option 2, PIs, researchers can only apply for 1 grant in a 12-month period as either the PI or the co-PI. There's a proposal template that has to be used for both option 1 and option 2. And what we've seen is this is something a little bit different for us. We've always just allowed sort of a free form process to describe the project itself. Now there's this template, and it's you need to leave the template exactly as it is, and the instructions are very, very clear on the Alliance website. So I strongly encourage you to read them carefully, or reach out to NSERC staff. We're always happy to answer questions. And then the whole application is submitted to the NSERC online system as per normal with all of our grants. So with the evaluation, we do an administrative assessment first to make sure that all the bits and pieces of the grant application are there, and a few key things are met, like the partner is eligible, the correct cost sharing ratio has been selected, the applicants are eligible, a few other things like that. Nothing on the sort of evaluating the scientific content, just administrative things. And if we find anything wrong that's serious, we will send that back to you. We will reject it, and you'll have to reapply, fix it and reapply. If everything is fine on the admin side, we then do a merit assessment of the application, and the review mechanism at this stage depends on the size of the grant. So if you're requesting a small amount, and by that I mean between $20,000 and $30,000 per year, we review those in-house, and it's a quicker turnaround time. Larger grants, so between $30,000 and $300,000 a year, we send out for normal peer review. Anything over $300,000 a year, we form an ad hoc committee to review those. The merit assessment, there's a lot of information on the website about how we assign the scores, because it is a competitive process with Alliance. So there are specific criteria that get evaluated and assigned a merit indicator. And then from that, we get an overall score for the application, and we rank those against the others in that lot and make our funding decisions based on that. With the option 2 grants, as I said, there's an extra step. So we have a special committee called the Public Impact Value Proposition Committee. And this is made up of individuals from across the country from different sectors, bringing a very wide breadth of and depth of expertise. They will evaluate your 3-page PIVP section to make sure that your project fits with option 2. If it does, it goes out for normal peer review. If it doesn't pass the PIVP committee, you're perfectly capable or able to resubmit your application in the option 1 stream. So I'll just finish off with a quick few words about a new joint funding opportunity that we've just started offering with MyTax. It's available for option 1 only at this point. The principles and requirements and criteria of both programs need to be met. If there's something more stringent on either side, the stricter rule will apply. As far as the cost sharing ratio goes, it's very advantageous or very beneficial from the partner side, because partner cash will be matched by both MyTax and NSERC. So if it's a company bringing $30,000 to the project, MyTax will match that with their $30,000. We will match it. NSERC will match it with either 30,000 if it's fits within the 2-to-1 leverage ratio, or we will match it, 1-to-1 or 2-to-1, depending on the partner distribution. You could apply anytime. It's the same rules as with a regular alliance. The first thing you should do if you're interested in exploring one of these applications is to talk to the MyTax business development person at your institution. There's a supplemental form that person will walk you through to detail the budget. Those forms are filled out, and then they are sent into NSERC with the remaining alliance forms. So I've just included here a bunch of useful links. As I've said, there's a lot of information on the Alliance website. You often need to drill down quite far to find all of it, but the resources page is very good. The FAQ page is very good. And as I said, always feel free to send an email to the Alliance website or the Alliance general mailbox, or reach out directly to your to the NSERC people in your region. Those questions will come to us anyway, probably from the general mailbox. So if you know your regional office staff, we're all very familiar with Alliance, so please feel free to reach out directly to us. And with that, I will end. Thank you very much.